their unique value proposition to their target audience. It offers services such as brand identity, content marketing, digital marketing, product marketing, website development on WordPress. Is proficient with CRM tools like Microsoft Dynamics CRM, analytic tools like Google Analytics and Console, WordPress for website development, Landigi for landing pages, HubSpot, Ubersuggest for SEO and keyword research, and design tools like Adobe Photoshop, Illustrator, and Canva. He has also worked on promoting technology products like Vlogin, Avis iCare, iReports, Adobe Sign, SolarWinds Service Desk, Microsoft Power Platform, Cisco WebEx, Autodesk, and many more. He has also worked with 3 media houses in Nigeria and runs his own marketing brand, GoTech Consults. Currently, he is the marketing team lead for Ashem Limited, one of the leading IT companies in Nigeria. Mr. Bamidele, thank you for joining us today. It's good to have you here with us this afternoon.
Hi, thank you, Benedicta. Good afternoon, everyone.
All right, so before we get started, I would like to implore all of us, during the course of Mr. Bamidele's presentation, should you have any questions, please do well to raise your hand or drop your question in the comment section. I'll pick them up from there. Thank you very much. Mr. Bamidele, over to you, sir.
All right, thank you, Benedicta. Good afternoon, everyone. And I'm glad to be here. Thank you for joining this session. And thank you also to the amazing brand. You guys are doing a lot, and thank you for the impact you have on the society. Okay, so let's just shoot. So today is going to be an interactive session, and I would like to, speak to everyone because I know we all are here with expectations, and I would want to meet everybody's expectation for this program. Now, there is a very important topic before us today that we're all looking at together, and it is called leveraging strategic branding to transform business performance, right? And this has to do with either you're a business owner, either you're an entrepreneur, either you are a skilled professional. This has to do with everybody because in one way or the other, we are all doing something on social media. We are all having something to do with a particular business or the other. We are all offering one particular service or the other to people. So it is expected that we all look deep into this topic and dissect it together. So I'll just take you through what the agenda is going to look like. What we're going to be talking about today. We are going to be looking at topics like branding. What is branding about? How does branding matter for you? What does branding matter for you? How to build a smart brand. And also we'll take a look at some Nigerian brands that are doing it right. And we'll also take a quick look at an international brand that did it and missed it. So these are the things we're going to be looking at today. All right. So, but before then, I like to interact with the audience. So I'll just speak at random and let's talk about, the topic. Let's talk about the topic. Let's start with Abubakar. Hi, Abubakar. Good afternoon. Can you hear me? Can Abubakar hear me? Okay, let me pick somebody else at random. Alima, are you there?
Yes, don't worry, I can hear you.
Okay. Hi, Abubakar. Good afternoon.
Afternoon, sir.
Yeah. So you having to join this session, I believe you have some expectations. What are you looking forward to getting from this? Looking at the topic.
Yes, I'm looking to gain some insights on the topic.
Okay. Do you have a business? Are you a business owner or are you a skilled professional?
Not quite actually. I'm currently on my I'm on the process of learning actually.
Okay. All right, that's fine. All right, so let's take a look at this topic together, everybody. Now, the first one says, what is branding? Which is one of the things we're going to be looking at. Now, on my screen, you can see a very simple definition of what branding is all about. It says branding is not just your logo or the colors that you choose for your Instagram page. It's the overall vibe that your business gives off. Like, I try to make it as simple as possible, as clear as possible, so we can both understand what it means. Now, when it comes to branding, most people believe that, oh, I have to choose a color for my brand. You know, what color can I choose? Is it yellow? How does yellow feel when people see it? When people see yellow, you know, things like that. Or they want to pick a logo and they are saying, oh, they give a designer to design for them and they are saying, please make the logo very good because the logo is what my brand is going to be saying, you know, things like that. But branding outside of it is more than this. It is more than the logo that you have for your business. It is more than the name of your business. It is more than the colors that you decide to pick for your business. It is more than the way you arrange your Instagram page to look pretty and beautiful. Because it can all be fine and glamorous and not be sending out the real message that you want to send out. And it can all be beautiful and attractive, and people are still not interested in your business because you are giving off the wrong vibe. You are giving off giving off different perception of your business. Now, I'm going to look at it like this way. Now, your brand is your business personality. That's the one thing you have to take note of. Your brand is your business personality. And where there is competition, where the competition is fierce and the consumer loyalty is, you know, for you to win the hearts of so many consumers, it is very hard. That is when you have to look at branding strategically. That's when you have to look at branding strategically. We're going to talk about, you know, all of these things, but these are going to be, what you'll be seeing on my screen are going to be summary of a lot of things that I'm going to have to say. Now, your brand is the story that you tell to your customers, all right? The story you tell to your customers, the story you tell to your employees, the story you tell to yourself about your brand. The story that it is easily understood. That story defines who you are as a person. Let's assume you are a professional and you want to do a personal branding. The story that defines who you are as a person, the things that you do and why you do those things. You know, these are the things that branding talks about. Is that story that picks you out from the crowd. For example, we have a lot of logistic companies in Lagos, let's even say in Nigeria as a whole. But out of over 100 logistic companies that we have in Lagos, what makes your own logistic company stand out? What makes you stand out? What makes people want to, you know, relate with you? You know, things like that. It's the story that allows you to connect with your audience, your customers. The story that makes people want to be loyal to your brand. That is what your branding is. Now, one of the ways that we'll now look at it is, okay, now you're telling me that branding has to do with my story of so and so. Then how do I tell this story? Like, how do I tell it in such a way that I don't tell it wrong? All right. That's going to take me to here. I'll give you an example here. Now we have Apple, and I know most of us use iPhones. And at some point, you must have used an Android phone. But when you hear, oh, iPhone 12 is out, you know, you see people leaving their iPhone 11 Pro to buy 12. After a while, you hear, oh, 13 is out, 14 is out. Now 16 is out. People that have the latest one will jump to buy the new one. Now, it's not like there is a difference between the previous one you're buying and the new one you're buying. That's the funniest part about it. Because for every product that comes out, they put in their best to give you the best output. So if you're talking about camera, for example, iPhone 14 is giving you a very good camera, 15 is giving you a very good camera. You put the camera side by side, they look awesome. All right. The storage system is okay. The RAM, for example, it depends on what you're buying. The battery for all iPhones are literally or averagely all the same. They don't usually exceed 4,000. Okay. Now that is not what they are selling. That is not what their brand story is saying. But yet, all these advantages, or let me say, we even have more disadvantages than advantages when people are buying these products. what makes people still want to buy the new one that comes out? What makes them want to say, oh, there's a new one that just came out and I need to buy it? Like, seriously, I need to buy it. You know, what makes it? So the answer to that question is not about the product itself. It's about the story behind the product. All right. It's about the value that it represents and the connection that it creates with its audience. So there's a story behind it. There's a story behind it. And when we're talking about Apple, for example, Apple is like one of the iconic brands in the world. Their story is not just a random story. It's about a story of challenging the status quo. It's about a story of thinking differently. It's about a story of creating products that empower people to unleash their creativity. And that is why you see people that they will tell you, oh, I don't need to buy a digital camera to create my content. I'm using the latest iPhone, which gives me the output I'm looking for. That is value. So iPhone has made people think differently because they have created a product that can empower people. And their story is also embodied by their founder, which is Steve Jobs, the person who was a genius, by the way. Now, his story is reflected in the design that they are producing, the design, their marketing, their culture. So to them, it's not just about making Apple laptops or Apple iPhones, no, but it's about making a dent in the universe, something that stands different. And that is why you see people telling you that, oh, you use iPhone 16. The kind of high they would use in looking at somebody that is using iPhone 16 is different from the kind of high they will use looking at somebody that is using iPhone 8, because they will tell you you're using iPhone 8, you'll be regarded as a poor person, because the class, they are selling class. And that is one of the things that comes with it. They've made that dent in the universe. So they are telling you, we sell class. We're not selling the product. The product is just the product. But there's a story behind the product. There's a value that the product comes with. So for every new product that we are going to be releasing, there's a connection that it creates. And people are like, yeah, I just need to get you. That's why you see people selling their properties to buy these phones. You know, you see people doing so many weird things to get these phones. And this was the same brand story that BlackBerry created back then. The kind of value they were giving back then that made people so crazy about it. And that is the same story that Apple is still living until today. Now, let me show you a video. Hopefully, just help me confirm if the sound comes out at your end, Benedicta. Can you hear the sound?
No, I can't.
You can't? Okay, I'll just have to, let me reshare my screen and share the sound with it. Okay, can you see my screen again now? Is my screen up? Okay. So I'm gonna play this video, and after this video, I'll just pick random people and tell you, just tell me what you feel after watching this ad. So it's an ad by one of the biggest brands in the world. It's an ad of about 1 minute or 2 minutes, and then let's watch it together and let's analyze this together. Can you hear it now?
Yes, it's audible now.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so that is where the video ends. Does anybody want to answer the question I want to ask about this? You can just use the raise hand feature. Anybody?
Okay, go ahead with the question.
Okay, so in the first 1 minute of this video, did you understand what was happening? The first 1 minute.
Yes, I understand.
What vibe was it giving you in the first 1 minute?
It was giving me the vibe of they are trying to use the product to reach peace and unity, and also to bridge the gap between ethnicity around the world.
Okay, so now this is okay, talking about ethnicity, right?
Yeah.
Across the world. That is one. But let's assume that you did not see the Pepsi logo at any point. Would you have known that this ad was for a soda drink?
No.
Okay. What about Rebecca? The first 1 minute, how did you feel about this video?
The first 1 minute, it was showing how, let me say, from the people that are playing the instruments, they were a little bit dull, including the protest.
Okay.
So I think the Pepsi brings more like enlightening them to change their mood. And for the first 1 minute, there was this main color that they use, that is the red, and the will I say is dark blue, or what do I call it?
Okay.
Yes, because they have main colors that they use.
Okay. Okay. All right. Femi wants to say something. Femi, go ahead, please.
Yes, thank you so much. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, fantastic. All right, so I think I throughout the course of the video, I noticed something. Pepsi were just trying to send a message that their product brings unity, and their product is for everybody, irrespective of who you are, your class, it's for everybody. So I think they did a great job with bringing every personals on the video. I mean, in a nutshell, brings peace. There's no one drinking Pepsi together. I think that's just what the message I got out of all of this. Thank you.
Okay, now let's look at it from the emotional aspect. Let's look at it from the real protest aspect. Now, how does Pepsi fit into the picture? One, do you think that it was relevant to the protest? That's two. At any point, did you have that human feeling of this is them being insensitive to the demands of the protesters? Yeah, Femi, I think you, okay, Adeboye, please go ahead.
Okay, I would want to say that, number one, they came in as a kind of moral support to the protesters. You know, probably when everybody is done, everybody we are tired already. Probably they move around for a couple of hours, and then they come in as a form of refreshment to energize them and to even advocate for whatever they are preaching for now. So
Okay.
it was not, they're not being sensitive. They're actually trying to encourage them to voice out more.
Okay. Is there any female here that can just unmute? And was there any point at which you, when you were first watching the video, it felt like maybe you're watching an ad that had to do with fashion? Alima, please go ahead.
All right. In the course of watching the video,
Yeah.
I didn't start from the beginning initially. So when I met, I thought it was a fashion show or something, till I saw the Pepsi logo.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Alima. So according to the different analysis that had been done on this video, this is a video that had existed since 2017. Now they call this ad one of the most notorious brand story blunders ever in the world. And you know, the brand that worked on it, you know, they had a lot of people that attacked them. based on the content of it. Number one, from the emotional part, which I mentioned, a lot of people felt that Pepsi was being insensitive to the demands of protesters worldwide. Like, why are you showing somebody joining a protest, handing a Pepsi to a police officer, and then it looks like that Pepsi has resolved the conflict? That's why there are different interpretations to different brand stories, which is why your brand story has to be clear. All right. And when you are putting out your brand story, you have to be careful about how you put it out. You have to check it well to be sure that it is not being misinterpreted. Now, this ad was also seen as, how should I put it? It was also seen as one of the longest 2 minutes of any boring ad you can ever watch. Because for almost 2 minutes, you're just watching and you don't really know what is happening until the very end, before you now get the message you're trying to pass across. Now, when it comes to social justice movements, this ad was said to abuse that. When it comes to exploiting the imagery of real protests, this ad was said to abuse that. And they mentioned that this ad was not only insensitive, but it was also irrelevant and not realistic. Compare this to the modern day police officers. Let's assume that we have a normal random protest happening, and you're saying you want to give a Pepsi to a police officer. And do you think that's a police officer? If you end up still going ahead to protest, do you think if he wants to arrest you, he's still not going to arrest you? Do you think it's going to bring any unity or friendliness between you and the police officer? No, it won't build any unity. It's not going to bring people together regardless, because what is still going to happen is still going to happen. So their story was not about bringing people together. That was not the idea Pepsi had when they were doing that ad. It was about selling soda, and they were not able to achieve that. Now, how do you want to tell your brand story, right? There are different ways to tell your brand story, right? Which is what we're going to look at next. Now, let me go to my next slide. It says, why does branding matter to you? Number one is it creates trust between you and your audience. For example, there was a recent post I made on LinkedIn, and I gave a scenario. I said, you have two different coffee shops. You have your own coffee shop, and there is one just around the corner, not far from yours. And yours was handed over to you by your grandma, who brews the coffee by herself, who puts in the energy. But the other brand uses, they just use their normal ready-made coffee to do theirs. Now, but you have more people that come to yours more than the other brand. Now, there is a story behind your own brand, because one, you're being authentic. You brew your own coffee in-house. There is a story behind it. Or this brand actually has this authenticity within their own business, because they do it themselves. When it comes to you getting the best product, they are the ones that do it. When it comes to the hard working hands, telling them, oh, we work so hard to ensure that we give you the best coffee. Our team works together so hard to ensure that we source for the raw materials that we use in making this coffee. All of those different stories they can put together to boost that particular business, compared to a business that just buys the ready-made product and uses it to make coffee for people. There is always a story that should come with your branding. All right, the why, the how. And that is why branding should matter to you, is because one, it creates trust between you and the other hand, which is your audience. Number two is it sets you apart, like it differentiates you from every other business. Now I'm going to come straight to our normal local businesses in Nigeria. We have our Instagram vendors. You are a shoe vendor on Instagram. How is your own different? What sets you apart from every other shoe vendor? You would realize that there are some businesses that would buy from the real shoe makers and sell, making it look like they are the ones that make it. That is one. But you, as a shoe vendor, you make your own shoes and you want to set yourself apart from other people that sell shoes, but are not the ones that make it. Show the world your process. Show them the struggles you go through to get materials to make these shoes. Show them all the back-end activities that happens before the eventual beautiful output comes out. Show it to the world. It creates a trust. You know, your audience sees you as, yes, you're actually going above and beyond to ensure that you get satisfaction for your customers, to ensure that you get the best product for them. Now, the second one is that it differentiates you from every other person, because they are going to see your brand as, oh, this person, I can actually recommend this person because she makes it herself. And you know, there's nothing such as, oh, by the time somebody buys it and uses the product and after 2 weeks it gets spoiled. They're not like, oh, why now? Why did it get spoiled? You know, and then you, because you don't make the shoes yourself, you feel like, oh, sorry, you know, we're not the ones making the shoes, but next time we'll give you discounts. No, because you would have the boldness to say that we make these shoes ourselves with the best products. That is going to make you stand out from every other person on the internet, because you show them the process, and this process creates a relationship between you and your audience. Number 3 is it attracts the right customers to you. All right, it makes the right customers come to you. Those that are ready to buy, those that are not ready to waste your time, those that want to, you know, that want to invest in your business. It attracts them to you. And you know, when it comes to avoiding bad brand stories like the one I showed you in the other video, one of the ways of avoiding bad brand stories is for you to be authentic as a business person, as a professional. If you don't have a knowledge of something, don't assume or don't show to the world that you have a knowledge of it. Why not go and make your research? Why not go and learn about it, become an expert in that field before you now come back and start showing the world that, oh yes, I'm actually an expert with this. All right, so you have to be authentic first. You have to be yourself. Use your words, okay? And that is why when you see people using AI these days, one of the advice that comes with it is that even after you have used AI to generate your content, they will tell you to add your own words to it, add the human feeling to it, the human emotion. AI does not have human emotion, does not know how to add it to it. So why not go ahead and add it to it, make it more authentic, make it more relatable, okay? So as a business professional, as a skilled person, be authentic, be relevant in your field, you know. Don't try to be something that you're not. Don't try to copy somebody else's story. Tell your own story based on the experiences that you've gone through, based on your values, based on your vision. You know, just be honest and transparent. That's just the word to use there. Now, about being relevant, don't tell a story that has nothing to do with your brand. That is one of the irrelevancies in that previous video that I showed you. You know, don't tell a story that has nothing to do with your product or your customers. Tell a story that addresses their needs, their wants, their pain points. Tell a story that shows how you can help them to solve their problems, how you can help them to achieve their goals, okay? Don't tell a boring story. Don't tell a predictable story. That is why when most times some of us are watching Nollywood movie, we already know how the Nollywood movie is going to end, okay? Because looking at it from the beginning, you already know that, oh, yeah, this is how this story is going to end. And truth be told, by the end of that movie, you'll see that is how it's going to end, because you've been able to predict right from the beginning how it is going to end. So don't tell a boring or predictable story. Tell a story that captures the attention of your audience, a story that captures their creativity, their curiosity, their emotions. You know, a story that has a beginning, a clear middle, a clear ending, a story that has conflict in between, that has climax and that has resolution. You know, these are the ways in which you can actually engage your audience. And like I said in this last point on my screen, for you to attract the right audience, you have to make your branding clear. The clearer your brand is, the easier it is for you to attract the kind of customers or professionals that you want to connect with. All right. So when your brand is speaking their language, they are more likely to listen to you. Now let's look at this next slide of mine here. Now, how do you build a smart brand when it comes to optimizing your performance? How do you build a smart brand? How do you build a smart brand? Number one is, who are you trying to reach? Because there are questions that you have to answer. Who are you trying to reach? Either you're a professional on LinkedIn, you want to engage with people, you want people to engage with you, or you are a vendor on Instagram, you want to sell and make sales. You are a social media manager and your job is to create content for the brand you're working for. There are many questions that you have to answer if you're going to build a smart brand. So who are the people you're trying to reach? Okay, for example, sorry, I have to keep using some Instagram vendors as an example. I'm trying to be as relatable as possible. Now, as a vendor on Instagram that sells male clothing, for example, you should know that the people you're trying to reach are your male audience. At least, let's say 90% of them are your male audience. Now, outside of that, the sizes of shirts that you sell will now determine the age range of those you're trying to reach. Okay, that's another thing. Now, outside of that, you will now externally consider that, okay, we can actually have wives and girlfriends that might want to buy shirts for their husbands and their boyfriends and all that. That ratio is always very small. All right, it's always very small. But have it in mind that you are not entirely going to be focusing on males, because there are also going to be people that want to buy shirts and they are not males. Okay, so who are you trying to reach? You have to know your audience. Understand, it is called target audience. Understand your target audience. What do they like? What do they value? Okay, what do they need? These are the things that are key for you to build a smart brand. Now, number two says, what does your business stand for? And when I mean what does your business stand for, it's talking about how do you define your brand identity? What are your values? Are you saying that, okay, our mission statement is to be the best brand, ever? But being the best brand does not mean that you are satisfying your customers' curiosity. Being the best brand does not mean that you are giving the best customer service. You can be a very annoying brand online. When it comes to responding to people's messages, you can be really annoying. But then that is why you have to define your brand identity. Your brand identity is supposed to reflect what makes your business unique. You'll be chatting with some brands and in 1 second, they would have responded to you online. That is a point that makes them stand out. The best 24/7 customer support ever. That's what people will call it, because you are very responsive. And there is this algorithm even on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram, where if a brand often responds in time, Facebook will put it that this brand typically responds in 5 minutes. This brand typically responds in 2 hours. So if you're the kind of brand that does not respond in time, don't think that you are being smart, because there is an algorithm that has been built by these platforms to inform those that are coming to purchase from you that this person does not respond in time. So now that you are dropping your message as a new customer coming, the platform is telling you that please note that this person might not respond to you until after 2 hours. Naturally, that is a dent to your business. It does not make you stand out. You are just like every other brand that is existing online. But when you see brands that they put, typically responds in 5 minutes, that means that person is always available to attend to customer needs. Meaning that tomorrow, if you have an emergency purchase to make, this is the brand to go for. All right. So it's that your brand identity it reflects you as a unique brand in this aspect. There are so many aspects in which brands can be unique. The value that you give can make you unique. I buy a product from you, and 3, 4, 5 years, I'm still using the product. That's a very big addition to your business, because it's a great value you're giving. And that is why you see one of the things I do on Jumia, for example, when I visit those kind of platforms to buy things, is when I go check Jumia, I go to the reviews first. When I start saying, oh, this wristwatch peeled after 1 week, that's a dent. There's no value I want to get from that. There's no uniqueness from that particular vendor on Jumia. So I will just keep searching and searching and searching until I now get one that says, okay, maybe I get one that says, yeah, I've been using it for about 6 months now, and it's still looking okay. That's a positive. That's an addition. So it makes the purchasing decision easy. Okay. And the same thing also applies to professionals online. If you're a professional that offers services, this also applies to you also, not just to businesses alone. You're the kind of person that will give a deadline. This is the project timeline. It's going to start on September 1, finish on September 30. And on September 30, the client is chasing you around with phone calls, and you're not picking because you know you've not finished it. Because you've not finished that project. That is a dent to your business. You're not unique for anything. But imagine having a project timeline of September 1 to 30, and on September 15, you're done, and you've sent it to the client. The client is going to be wowed and give positive reviews. That makes your business unique on its own. All right, so it's not just about your logo, not just about your color. All those ones are just paparazzi. Let me call it that. They're just paparazzi. We have brands that don't have logos. Go and check Instagram. We have a lot of them. They don't have logos. They will put their personal picture on their DP. And they are doing very well. So it's not just about your logo. It's not about the color you're using. All the color online does not matter. So you having to be unique is another one. Now, the third one is you telling your story. People love a good story. They love to see your journey. I mentioned it before. People love to see why you started your business, the challenges that you've had to overcome in that business, the challenges you've had to overcome while you're building your brand. You know, from the point where you graduated NYSC and you have to take this course, you have to take that course, and today you're a digital marketing expert. You know, all those processes. That is why when you go to LinkedIn profile of some people, you would see their work, the listing of their work, places they worked. That's like a story. It tells a story. All right. It tells a story that, oh, for so number of years, this person worked in this role at this company. And these are the things that this person did. It tells your story. So people love a good story. All right. So they want to see your journey. And that is why you see some people apply for jobs and they don't get it. Because probably they've worked in just one place all their life. So there's no story to tell. You've just been stagnant, been in one particular position. You've not challenged yourself outside of a particular scope. Okay. So as a professional, as a business, you want to be strategic. You want to build a smart brand. People love a good story. Share your journey, whether it's on your platform, on your website, anywhere. Make sure you share your journey. Whatever story you're sharing, it creates a deep connection between you and your audience. Now, number 4 says consistency is everything in branding. You have to be consistent in your branding. Make sure the designs you do, the images you do, the visuals are consistent. Don't start using Canva today and tomorrow you shift to another app that gives you bad design or bad output. Or you start using Photoshop to design your visuals for your business. And tomorrow you switch to Canva. You know, the switch is going to be easy. The switch is very noticeable. There is always a clear difference in branding. People will know. They might not speak, they might not say it, but they know. And they are observing. The same thing also applies to businesses that change social media managers anyhow. A social media manager that responds to messages has a tone that he or she uses to respond. And that is why when you change your manager, there is going to be a lapse because they can never have the same tone. Their skill is quite different. What should I call it now? Their language is quite different. Their voice, their tone is quite different. So it's going to be noticeable. So you have to be consistent in everything that you do in branding. So whether it's your website, be consistent with it. Make sure it is functional, not the one that will visit your website today. Tomorrow it is down. Next tomorrow we are hearing that your website hosting has expired. You know, things like that pulls down your business performance. Same thing with your social media. Don't post today. The next time you're going to post to be in the next 3 weeks. No. If you have a content calendar, for example, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, that's when you're posting. Then please go ahead and post on those days, okay? Engage with your audience as well. Branding isn't a one-way street. Engage with your customers. Listen to their feedback. Be a part. Let them be a part of your brand story. You know, share their feedbacks on your social media. So it's not about just building trust, but it's about creating a community around your brand. People that you know that after you build relationships with them, they will still come back. They will still refer people to you over and over and over again. All right. Now, for some brands, I was able to note some brands that are doing so well in Nigeria. For example, we have Jumia. They are doing so well when it comes to their branding. That is why you see their Black Friday being the top one in the whole country whenever they're doing that. Their branding is so well, their language, their tone is so well. The same thing with Paystack as well. Paystack and Flutterwave. They're both competitors, but they're also doing so well with their branding. You see their branding in so many places. You see them hosting different events, you know, the language, you know, and also their visuals, even the products that they offer, the features they offer are very nice. You know, gone are the days when you have to use your ATM card to pay money online. Now they've created so many features. You can connect directly to your OPay. You can decide that you want to make a bank transfer. There is now personalized account numbers for everybody. You know, these things are what makes brands recommendable. Now we have Kuda too. When Kuda started this, they called themselves the bank of the free. They started with free transfers, no bank charges. You know, these are languages these are things people want to see. People want to go away from the point of I'll just wake up on money out now and I'll see that they've removed 200 Naira SMS charge from my phone. So these are brands that are doing it right. We have Chowdeck too. You know, after Jumia Food left, before Jumia Food left, Chowdeck was like a big competitor to that application. But then they were struggling. After they left, they had to stand up. You know, they had to stand up to the expectations that people were, you know, expecting from them. And today they are leading. You know, they are doing well with their branding. You see them everywhere. The same thing, you can see the tweet that went viral with Awa on Twitter. You know, when they started the collaboration with Chicken Republic and all of that. You know, the way they did the whole of that branding system looked so natural. Okay, those ones too are like excellent. The same thing with InterSwitch as well. InterSwitch, Paystack, Flutterwave, their card system, MasterCard system, and all that. Okay, sorry, I mentioned Paystack twice there. Then we also have Dangote as well. Dangote is a big brand that has created itself into a single entity that can control a lot of sectors without having any issue. Talking about the cement business, talking about, you know, the spaghetti business, the flour business, every other business. They do a lot of things. And that is because of the way they've created their brand. They've created their brand in such a way that they will tell you Dangote sugar is safer to eat than for you to go and buy all those sugars they sell in Congos in the market. You know, all these tones, all these languages are the things that maybe it might be true, it might not be true. But they've sold that branding in such a way that it is believable. And also when you check, you also see that, oh, yes, they are actually right, because the taste is always different. So these are brands that are doing quite well in the country. And for every branding, marketing is very, very necessary. Let me add this. Marketing is very, very necessary. While branding defines who you are, marketing communicates it to the right people at the right time. That is one. Two, a well-defined brand gives your marketing effort a clear direction. This is what you're trying to do. This is what you're trying to do at so time. So it ensures that every campaign you're doing aligns with the value of your business or your personal values. Number three is the business landscape in Nigeria currently is I don't want to use the word terrible, but everybody is vying for consumer attention. So as a brand, as a person, you have to ensure that your branding is not just about visibility, it's about value that you're giving. All right. Now we have another one that says branding plays a crucial role in not just attracting customers, but also keeping them. So outside of branding, you also have to create relationships as well. And at the end of the day, how do you measure your performance? Your performance is measured by these outcomes: the revenue you're able to generate, the market share you're able to have, the customers you're able to acquire, and also how you're able to retain customers. These are ways in which you can, leverage on marketing for that. Now, what should I call it? What I would say before I round up would be that ask yourself, as a business professional, as a skilled person, as a business owner, how are you leveraging strategic branding to boost the performance of your business? How are you leveraging? Are you really, really leveraging it? What do you think needs to be done? Based on what I've said, I'm sure you must have picked things that you can implement either for yourself or for your business. How are you leveraging on strategic branding for your business? Also, I know that most people already have marketing activities. You don't have to learn marketing to know how to market. All right. But is your marketing telling the right story, or is it telling the wrong story? Is your marketing strategy telling the wrong story, like the video we watched, or is it telling the right story? Now ask yourself these questions. Once you're able to answer these questions, implement the answers that you get. And trust me, your branding, your business, your personal brand is going to go above the roof. Thank you so much. I would hand over to Benedicta now so that we can take questions. Thank you so much for listening, everyone.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bamidele. That was such an insightful section. And I also want to thank our participants for their patience and their participation in today's session. So if anybody have any questions, we have a few minutes to take questions. So if you have questions, kindly put up your hands, or you can drop them in the comment section. I'll take them up. If anybody has any question, please feel free to drop them in the chat or raise your hands. Okay, I can see Femi, his hand up. Please, you can ask your question.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Bamidele, for that quite insightful presentation, and of course, it was very interactive. So I was just going to ask, because on this platform, we have quite a number of entrepreneurs who are startups that are thriving. So what would be your best advice for startups, looking at financial resources, right? What would be your best advice for startups who are just coming up and who want to work on their branding, like brand visibility, because it's actually very critical for startups, right? Branding, because no one would know your brand, no one would use your brand if they are not aware of what message that your brand is trying to pass or what you are doing there. So I see that for us, see that's very critical. That most of all these startups who are on this platform or entrepreneurs have that challenge with branding for their products. So what would be your best advice for strategies like that? Thank you.
All right, thank you, Femi. For the first question, so there are two ways to it, right? You're a startup. And there is one thing I always say: if you're running a business, you can't run all the sectors of your business alone. You can't run all the aspects of your business. It's impossible, because there will be parts of your business that will need your complete attention. There will be parts of your business that will need your complete expertise. All right. So even if you're a marketing expert and you're running a business, you still need to let some things out. All right. So if you're starting with a business, you already figured out, okay, I want to start this business. You already have capital for it. For every startup activities that you're engaging in, make sure that you have a budget for your marketing. having a logo does not necessarily have to be the first thing that you do. But having a name, the name you're picking first must be something that is relatable, must be something that it is. There's something I used to say. I used to tell people that please make the name of your business easy to pronounce. Something I can pronounce at once. You know, all those minor things are very essential when it comes to startups. You see people naming businesses after themselves. It does not work like that. I understand that names are now scarce, but we still have a lot of a lot of creativity that we can put into getting the best names for businesses. Having a very good name is one, because name is very essential. There's some people that will tell you, I can't buy from this person because you know, you are bearing, maybe there's one local name you give to your business and you're honest like that. You know, how do I want to recommend this kind of business to one person that lives in Lekki or one senator that lives in so place, just because of the name? So these are things that can cause limitations to a startup. All right, that is one. Number two, make sure you have a team, at least a mini team that you can work with. Maybe it can be a team of 2 or 3. Okay, as you are working on the marketing or on the business part of whatever it is you're doing, let somebody else manage the marketing part of it, so that person can put the effort, the time into marketing, and not just anybody, somebody that has handled the brand before, somebody that you know has that expertise to help you achieve your goal, because you must have brand values, have goals before you start. Have goals. Maybe you want to be known for being one of the brands that are most respectful when it comes to engaging with customers online. Have goals. It is called a brand personality, a brand tone. So have goals. State these goals to whoever it is you're going to be working with. You know, these are things that are very necessary. If eventually you're now financially buoyant to design a logo, don't go ahead and say, oh, can you quickly let me run something on Canva? No. Put your time and finance into ensuring that you create the best for that business. Because when it comes to rebranding is supposed to happen after a while, not a yearly thing, not a 6-month thing. Rebranding happens based on circumstances, not just something that you just wake up and say, oh, this logo looks bad. No, there are trends when it comes to branding. All right, that industry shifts sometimes, and some logos will start looking outdated. But you have to know that if you're starting up, you're not financially okay to design a logo, let an expert do it for you. Don't just go on Canva and put something together. Some people will go as far back as going to Google and, you know, Google something about the business, download a picture that looks like a logo and start using it. And they go to the extent of branding it on their paper bags and every other branding that they have. Well, because once you start, you won't be able to go back. Once people start seeing your product, it is being registered in their mind that this is this product, and they register it in their mind that this is the logo for this product. That is why when you see an Apple logo, for example, even if you're just waking up from your sleep, naturally you will know that this is an Apple phone or an Apple laptop, because that logo has been registered in your brain. So these are important things you have to take note of as a startup if you're starting up, just so that you can, you know, avoid some pitfalls later on. I don't know if that answers your question, Femi.
Yes, it does. Thank you so much for that clarity.
Does anybody have any question? Okay, so while we are waiting for the participants to ask their own questions, I have 1 or 2 questions to ask. The first one is there anything such as too much marketing? Because case in point, there was a particular bank that was having a marketing for their shares that they were selling. I mean, I don't have to mention it. Everybody on this call can guess the name of the bank without saying anything. So it became so annoying at the point that everywhere you're seeing it everywhere. So is there anything that's too much marketing, and how does it affect your brand? And then how likely is it? Okay, the other question is how likely is it to go from a bad reputation for your brand to a good one? Like you already have a bad reputation for your brand, maybe because a batch of a product was bad and then people started complaining, you know, bad news spreads faster than good news.
Yeah.
So even everybody already knows that, oh, this person's just because of a batch of products. So how do you get back from that?
Okay. So for the first one, there is nothing as such as too much marketing. Because what I'll tell you is keep putting your business in the face of everybody. Keep putting it. Now, you might not be interested in that business at that point. And there are many reasons why people might not be interested. Some people are not financially buoyant to say that they want to patronize you at that point. All right. For example, banks that are talking about shares, for example, now. Some people are interested, but they don't have the money yet. They don't have the spare money to say they want to use to buy shares and all that. But keep putting it in the faces of every other person. There are some people that would see it and they don't even know what shares means. But when you keep putting it, it will make somebody just wake up one morning and say, oh, let me even Google, what's shares all about? And then when the person googles it and sees it and say, okay, and then goes ahead to ask an expert and say, oh, please tell me what shares is all about. And then the person tells you, oh, this is a long-term thing. It's more like a future investment, something like that. You know, things like that. At the present point, the person might not buy, but has this registered in his or her mind that this is what his idea is about. Now, if tomorrow, God willing, the person becomes financially okay to make such a purchase, the person would remember there was a brand that was actually talking about this then over and over and over again, putting it in our faces, you know, and that's the first brand that will come to your mind. And you more like be tempted to reach out to that brand and say, oh, are you guys selling shares currently, you know? And then you get to buy. That did not happen at the instant, but happened in the future because that too much marketing had been registered in your memory to the extent that the name of the brand would be registered in your brain, even more than the current bank, the bank that you're using yourself, because they've put that marketing out there. Just the same way when it comes to when November comes now, you start seeing Black Friday everywhere. They will keep putting it in your faces. You start seeing it on socials. Yeah, if you go into YouTube in November, virtually all the videos you watch will bring up the hard pop-up for Black Friday. Do you want to call it too much marketing? They want to keep putting it in your face until you make that decision to buy. And most times it is not always an immediate decision, but it's a long-term investment in the memory of the customers. Now, for the second one, how do you go from bad marketing to a good one? Now, it could be due to so many things. It could be bad business. It could be bad economy that cost it. There are a lot of things that could have cost, you know, are you having a bad image as a brand? And it could have been that you spoke wrongly to a customer and the customer decided to post it online and spoil your reputation. Yeah, that happens. We've seen a lot of that online. Now, one of the things you have to do is acknowledge your error, acknowledge your mistake. One thing you don't know about Nigerians is that Nigerians love it when you come to them and say, sorry, Emma Binu, you know, sorry. So they like when people come to apologize, regardless of what you might have done that is bad in the past. Once you apologize, they will drop it. If you now do something bad tomorrow, it does not mean they will not bring it back. They will bring it back. But the moment you apologize, for that period of time, what you want is a good business, right? Acknowledge your mistake, acknowledge your error, apologize for it. It is like you're trying to connect with their emotions. Nigerians are emotional people. In fact, globally, we are all emotional people. That is why you would see, even when people get heartbroken by different lovers, does that mean they will not eventually get married? They will. Because somebody will still emotionally connect with you at the end of the day. No matter how hard boy, or hard girl you are, you will still be emotionally connected eventually. So emotionally connect with that your audience, apologize, acknowledge it. Then another way to ensure you make that move is you can also use influencer marketing as well. Get an influencer that has a positive image on the society, employ the services of that influencer. That influencer can also help you to change the branding system, you know, change the image that you have currently in that space. All right. But after all has been said and done, and you've sorted it out, it is advisable you don't go back to, you know, getting into that brand, into that bad image again. Because one, the internet never forgets. And two, Nigerians most times don't have forgiving spirit. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. I have two questions here in the chat. The first one says, how do I start my own branding company as a graphic designer and developer? I guess the person is asking how they can start their branding company that offers branding services to other people. And the second question says, how important is brand storytelling as a startup?
Okay, so for the first person, one, you need to have a portfolio because people want to see evidences of what you've done. You must have a portfolio first. Create a portfolio for yourself and make sure you have enough to show that, yes, this is what you've done. So it does not have to be work that you've done for different brands, no. Just in your own spare time, you can create. That is why you see people creating, you go to Instagram and see people, you see artists drawing and sketching for influencers that they don't know. It's not because they are begging them to come and buy it. It's because they are creating a portfolio, trying to make people see, yeah, this is what I can do. So create a portfolio for yourself, all right? Once you create a portfolio for yourself, that sets you aside as, yes, this is my evidence of work done. So after that evidence of work done, you can now start creating a presence online, okay? Create a presence online. Open up your socials, your Instagram handle, for example, create an Instagram handle, have it, make sure you have a watermark on your service, or what should I call it, whatever visuals you've used, make sure you have your watermark on it. Now, once you've created a social media platform or presence on different platforms, go ahead, upload your works online. People want to see what you have done, what you are doing, okay? That is another way in which you can start up. Once you start putting things out there, people will start showing interest gradually, okay? And outside of that, create a personal portfolio for yourself. Now, outside of the business, the person behind the business might be a bad person, or how should I put it? Might not have that good impression online. Also create a good impression for yourself. So if I'm searching, maybe I'm searching on Google and the SEO outcome brings up a list of graphic designers and it brings up your company. The SEO output or result should be able to connect your company with you. So for every social media presence you're creating, ensure that it is tagged back to you. So if your brand name is so and so trust agency, on your what should I call it now? On your bio, creative director, if that's what you want to use, that's almost what I use it now. Creative director at so and so, that's your handle. Let it lead back to your handle. Because people want to see a face, they want to attach a face to a brand. All right. And when they attach a face to a brand, they go through your profile, they scrutinize you before they can trust you enough to give you business. That is why, and don't make your processes too hard for people, especially when in this current world now, we do most of the things we do is virtual businesses. We buy with trust. You know, people will tell you only payment before delivery, not payment on delivery. All right. So don't make your process too hard. Make it flexible for people. That's as a startup. Make your payment system processes flexible. Don't make it in such a way that people have to put in their 100% effort and you're only putting in 10%. No, make it flexible, make it equal. So over time, as you grow, when you now become a big brand, you can now decide to say, okay, you have to pay 90% or you have to pay 100% before you can get delivery of your stuff. That's about that for that person. The second question, sorry, I'm trying to remember the second question. Can you remind me?
Right. The second question says, how important is brand storytelling as a startup?
Okay, brand storytelling is very, very good because people want to connect with your brand. That is why I mentioned at one point, I said, people want to know, who are you? All right, you're a startup, who are you in the first place? They want to see your business, they want to see the owner of the business. Now, what do you do? That's another thing. Now, this thing that you are doing, how are you going to be doing it differently from every other person that has been existing? Because every sector that you go to, there is always a business already existing there. So how do you want to do it different? they also want to see that. Okay, so that is why I mentioned at the beginning when I talked about Apple that Apple they don't just sell their product, they're selling class to people. So whatever it is that you are selling as a startup, your brand story must be able to state your values. It must be able to state your value. It must be able to tell your story. If you're the kind of business that you have to source for raw material before you can get products delivered, tell your story. And as a startup, be consistent. Don't start today, die tomorrow. Nope. If you're going to be starting, start out well. Maintain that consistency. Don't do it in such a way that you would start posting on Monday, Tuesday, and then you don't post until the next week, Wednesday, Thursday. It's going to affect your branding because there are ways in which this social media platform work. There are algorithms that keeps recommending you to people. And it is only a consistent brand that will be recommended, not a brand, because that is what gives these platforms their money. Your consistency is what gives them their money. And when they get their money through your consistency, they will also recommend you to people that will give you back your own money. So that is just the way the whole process works. Thank you.
Right, thank you very much. One more question here. What is the relationship between branding and customer experience?
Okay, branding and customer experience. Customer experience is happens after they must have, after the customer must have had a transaction with you. Customer experience is like a feedback. Okay, you can also get branding even out of that feedback. For example, before the customer came to meet you or to transact with you, something must have made the person come to meet you. It could have been a referral, for example. Let's assume it's a referral. Somebody referred you, referred that person to you. Now, the person that referred that person to you referred the person based on the experience he or she had with you. So you can see the connection there. The person that's referred the new customer to you referred based on the good experience that he or she had with you. And that good experience is one arm of branding, is one arm of your storytelling, is one arm of the value you've given. Okay, so that is why at the beginning I mentioned that it's not just about your logos and all the other things. The experience your customers get from you is part of your branding. Naturally, they will keep spreading your good news based on the experience that they've gotten from you. Okay, they buy a product from you and it lasts them for as long as the value of the money. They'll keep giving that feedback to other people, and that will keep spreading your brand out there. So it's all part of branding. So the experience, the good customer relationship that you create, you telling them while you're doing your business, you showing them the stress you go through to ensure that customer satisfaction is key. All of these things are all part of branding.
Okay, I think that's all the question we have. Thank you very much once again, Mr. Bamidele and everyone. Before we wrap up, can we all just turn on our camera to take a virtual group photograph? Please, let's turn on our cameras. Thank you. Can you turn on your camera for a group photograph? Okay, Mr. Bamidele, please, can you stop sharing your screen?
All right.
Still waiting on other people to turn on their camera. Kindly turn on your camera for the picture. Okay, so one or two persons are asking in the chat if they can access the recording and materials. So the session was recorded and it will be available on Opolo's YouTube page at Opolo Global. So whenever you need to check it out, you can just go to Opolo YouTube page and rewatch the recordings of today's session. All right, thank you everyone for your participation and patience. Thank you, Mr. Bamidele, for such an insightful section. Have a great day, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day and enjoy your weekend too. Bye.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Everybody, see.